Thank you. One man's life going through some unnecessary legal drama. This after receiving a letter that he had fathered a child with a woman he'd never even met. Now, vindication of sorts. It's a follow-up to a story I brought you earlier this year on his legal fight and what comes next.
She don't know me. How do you just put my name down? How do you just put anybody's name down? I don't know her, never seen her. Still to this day, haven't talked to her. And it just proved out that the baby has no ties to my name. Thankfully, the lady did bring the child in to get tested. And that's all I needed to happen.
This letter from friend of the court reads in part, Dear Mr. Smith, enclosed is a copy of the genetic test results, excluding you as the father.
Let's just set the record. I trust my husband because I know his character. Man of integrity.
I would like to say relief, but it's kind of like confirmation, really, because I already knew that I had no ties and no links to this child or this woman. And to have that letter come to my house, it was a little unnerving, but not from the standpoint of being caught up in something. It was a little unnerving that, a letter like this could come to my house having no legitimacy to it.
We first brought you the story of DeAngelo Smith in late January when he presented some wild allegations against friend of the court in Berrien County. The initial letter sent to his home stated a woman who we are not naming alleging him to be the father of her daughter, a child between the age of 1 and 2 years old.
She's a stripper from Detroit. We had a one-night stand at some hotel that we supposed to been and went to, and this is a story that was told to me.
While playing the waiting game for the alleged mother to bring in the baby for a DNA sample, the school where DeAngelo Smith teaches received an inquiry for possible garnishment if things did not go in his favor.
Where it made it not something that was being alleged, now it's something that's being taken into action, and there's no paternity been established.
But clearly, these test results confirm that to no longer be the case.
With that being said, strong marriage or not, clean past or not, that's a very tough letter for anyone to receive.
Absolutely.
Without any proof.
Absolutely. It is. The main things that they have to provide to the state of Michigan is a name and a birth date and where they live. That's easy information for someone to gather off of Google, off of Facebook, off of any kind of social media platform.
People who have checkered past, who have done things in the past, who have, stepped out and did things that was unbecoming of a real man, right? And so, but they've changed and they've cleaned up their act and they've gotten better, which all of us have the opportunity of doing or getting better. But a letter like this coming to that house, a man that has changed his ways, that has walked in a different direction, this letter could be absolutely devastating because of what you've done before.
We made several calls to lawmakers in Lansing who are familiar with this particular topic to get some answers.
It's very unfortunate, but paternity fraud is not a unique, unusual situation in Michigan.
Senator Jim Runstead tells me he's been pushing for new legislation on the matter during the past 8 years, saying right now there's no penalty for lying. Senator, what was the opposition for not passing this kind of legislation?
Well, maybe it would hinder mothers who don't want to name a particular guy or they made a mistake, but you had to knowingly name the wrong person. It becomes emotional stuff.
Respectfully, to mandate that DNA testing for the child is conducted first before a letter is sent to someone's home alleging they may be the father of a child regarding a woman whom they have never met, doesn't that seem like common sense type of legislation?
I tell you, Joshua, the common sense goes out the window. I'd be more than happy to put that bill in. I'm telling you, it wouldn't even get a hearing in committee. I'll guarantee you, it wouldn't even get a hearing in committee. I ran across this before.
The only reason I believe that this woman came in was because of Fox 2. Fox 2 provided a platform where the word got out, and this word spread it like wildfire quickly to the point where the lady came in. Now, I asked the friend of the courts about bringing her in. They said, well, we just have to wait until she comes in. But I thank God that Fox 2 provided a platform where the lady was able to come in, but everybody does not have that opportunity for Fox 2 to show up at their doorstep to help them out.
A lot to wrap your head around, guys. Real quick, as we did in our initial story, we called friend of the court for a comment, but have not heard back. In the meantime, Senator Jim Runstead tells me if you're caught in a similar situation, your best option is to hire an attorney if possible. Also, and this is very key, reach out to your lawmakers. The senator says more bipartisanship is much needed on this very touchy matter.
It could destroy a whole relationship. I mean, luckily, here's a guy that has,
He has a solid household.
That's very some people would have packed up and left and said, I just don't believe you. You could have destroyed a life.
Bingo.
Unbelievable story. For them to send that to work. Can you imagine if you worked at a certain place and the rumors would start to spread?
Yes.
I mean, it is potentially not only family
definition of character in the public eye.
But your character and your life.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine how frustrated that family was while they were trying to get answers.
Highly frustrated, Amy and Jay. Highly frustrated because, again, you're getting an inquiry about your finances without even confirmation if you're connected to this particular case.
Hey, where's the proof? Wow.
A lot more dialogue is needed on this matter, Lansing, for sure.
Thanks for bringing that to light.
We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this story to me is very disturbing, and I'm going to tell you why. If it wasn't for Fox 2 News Detroit, and shouts out to them, basically, his story wouldn't even come out. Now, this brother was received a letter of a stripper saying that he's the father, right? But he even knew that he wasn't the father because he never met the woman, he never talked to the woman, he never even seen the woman, right? And then she told everybody just to put the name, and it happens all the time. She told the court to put any name to be the father. And again, if it wasn't for Fox 2 and the DNA test results, they're going to garnish everything he worked hard for because of that child. That's not even his. Now, and again, the wife been supportive since day one. But again, it could have got ugly. She could have left. She could accuse him of saying, oh, you cheated on me, the marriage is over, blah, 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 blah. But this is what men go through almost every day. It go through the same scenario. Accusing a man of a child that's not even his. And the court system allows it to happen. Like I said, two things they should have done in the criminal justice system, which they may not even want to do, but they need to do. They need to make the DNA test mandatory. Let's just say if the woman gets the baby, they need to make that DNA test results mandatory. That's number one. Number two, they could have passed this law about paternity fraud. And this is very important because, men will be arrested and the courts will destroy them because of a child that's not even his. And it happens all the time. And this story isn't the only story that it happened to. I think years ago that a black father in Detroit, similar to this case, has taken care of a child that's not even his. In fact, he himself, he said that's not his child, but the courts tell him to pay it anyway. Pay it anyway. I think it took a couple of years of lawyers, the DNA test now to say, well, the child's not his, but the courts still force this man to pay the child, pay the child support. And this is disturbing. He himself said if it wasn't for Fox 2, this wouldn't even be a story. This wouldn't even be happening. Because they're going to garnish everything, and they're going to say, well, you still have to pay because she named you as the alleged father. And this is what men, especially black men, has to go through this every single day with the criminal justice system, how the court system works, especially when it comes to child support. See, this is mainly the reason why that both DNA test mandatory is important and pass the legislation that women will lie to a man and say the child's his, it really isn't. That should have been paternity fraud. They should have been charged with paternity fraud. But the criminal justice system don't care about that. All they care about is, that's you the father, you have to pay child support, blah, blah, blah. And this has happened to men everywhere. Look at what happened to this celebrity. Her name is Eva. I forgot her name. I forgot her name, but if you do know the actress name, you can leave the comment below. But she married her husband, and you know what? Even though the kids was not his, he adopted kids, and then not only she divorced him, but she forced her ex-husband to pay her child support over children that he adopted. And see, this is maybe the reason why that men, and most men, don't want to get married. This is mainly the reason why they don't want to even be in relationships, because they fear of stuff like this. Some decided to go overseas, being passport bros, because of stuff like this. The criminal justice system is trapping men of kids it's not even his. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, that these two things are extremely important. Make this DNA test mandatory and create a bill that, arrests women that lies to men for paternity fraud, so that this will not end up like this gentleman that's on the screen right now. And again, like I said, if it wasn't for Fox 2 News in Detroit telling the story, then if it wasn't for that story, that this story would never come out. Then they will say, well, yeah, I don't believe you. He did father this child. But it happens all the time, especially with black men in the community. And this is why these two things are important, because it's going to stop these women from lying, just put any man's name and think to please the court. So the court will say, easily saying, well, you have a child, we got to take all that away from you. Which is sad of all, for not only sad for the man, but it's sad for the child, because the child going to think that he is the father, but turns out the mother lied, and it's not, the child's not even his, just to put the name on the birth certificate or the letter from the court. So y'all let me know what you think about this. I mean, it shows you, ladies and gentlemen, that you tarnish this man's character. You could easily lose his marriage over this, this woman lies. And the court will believe a woman than a man. That's what I'm saying. This criminal justice system believes women over men all the time, especially when it comes to kids, to children. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, need to stop. I hope that the state of Michigan will pass this law. Matter of fact, I hope countries across America pass this law to send a message that women can't get away with the lying and just falsifying a man's name just to have a father because the court system said so. So y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll talk to you in my next video. This is Langston signing off. Deuces.